Morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome to you to the 82nd Monroe County Electric Co-op annual meeting. Should have been the 83rd, but we didn't have one last year, so it's only 82. But I want to thank everyone that's come here today. Thank you very much. And we're going to start off with a prayer from Alan Waddles.
If you would pray with me. Heavenly Father, we're just thankful to be able to come here and gather this morning and conduct business for the co-op. Thankful that we are able to just be together and look to do the business for electing directors and approving reports and just having a little bit of a fellowship time. We just ask now that you watch over us during this meeting. I thank you for the members that have been able to stay and be with us. I pray that you continue to watch over the board and the employees and give us a safe year. Just ask now that you just bless this meeting and thank you for the opportunity and the things that you've done for us, and ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Alan. Will everybody please stand?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce the board of directors here. The Northern District, we got Joel Harris, who is our vice chairman. Please stand. Richard Hollis, Richard Neff. Our Central District, Gary Gregson, our secretary treasurer. Larry Kraft, George Obernagel, myself, chairman. The Southern District, Jeff Huffman. Jeff is new to the board. He was elected last year. He took Ross Miller's place. Richard Leifer. And Amy Hoffman-Rolfing. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, George. I need to read the quorum report. In accordance with the Article 3, Section 3.04 of the bylaws, 50 members must be present in person or by proxy. This morning, a quorum of members were present with 121 in person, 5 represented by proxy. Therefore, any and all business can be legally transacted. Next is a notice of the meeting. Notice is hereby given that the 2021 annual meeting of members of the Monroe County Electric Cooperative Incorporated will be held at the cooperative headquarters at 6132 State Route 3 and 5960 Old Red Bid Road, Waterloo, Illinois, at 10 a.m. on October the 2nd, 2021, to take action on the following matters. Number 1, to hear the reports of officers, directors, employees, and committees. Number 2, the election of directors of the cooperative. Number 3, to consider and vote upon proposed amendments to and repeal of certain of the bylaws, the proposed amendments and repeals being included in this notice. Number 4, all other business which may properly come before the meeting or any adjournment thereof. Directors up for a 2-year term expiring in 2023. Northern District, Richard Neff. Central District, George Obernagel. Southern District, Jeff Huffman. Directors up for a 3-year term expiring in 2024. Northern District is Richard Hollis. Central District, Larry Kraft. Southern District, Quint Stencil. Given at Waterloo, Illinois, this 14th day of September, 2021. Next on the agenda, the minutes of the last meeting. I need a motion to dispense with the regarding of the minutes and approve as mailed in the annual meeting notice. If we could, if we have a vote from the floor, motion. Yep. Okay. Donnie? Or don't need names. Okay, in a second, please. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Well, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous vote. Okay, approval of reports. Approval of any and all reports and actions by the board, the directors for 2019 and 2020, including approval of the report to the members from the president, CEO, and chairman of the board as mailed in the annual meeting notice. And we'll need a motion from the floor on that as well. Got one over here. Second? Here, okay. Thanks, Rick. Okay, voting on that, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much, Gary. As a chairman, I got a few comments here. You look how the world has changed in the last 18 months of COVID. Whoever thought we would have drive-through registration, no breakfast here in the morning. Everybody misses it, but maybe next year, but who knows. But the times are really changing. And even the board here, 2/3 of the board are newer members, less than 5 or 6 years. Look at the legislative issues and regulations, how they're changing so fast. The climate control, how many billions of dollars are spent in it. Is it good, bad? I don't know. But you got China building more coal-fired plants left and right. So it's things we're going to have to deal with. You drive along the roads, east, west, more solar, more wind farms. Every day you hear people get notices in the mail you want to rent your farmland for, solar or wind farms. But they say in 10 years, 40% of the cars are going to be electric cars. Are you going to be driverless vehicles? So times are really changing. Even like Southern Illinois Power Company. Last year, October, we shut down part of the plant. We're on more renewables, coal, wind. It was a change, but we just have to adopt to this stuff. So we're just going to have to adopt more and more of these new changes. They're coming fast. Through our legislators, look at the coal mines in Illinois and the coal power plants. They're all going to have to there's closing, there's deadlines we have to do, administrated by our legislators. So changes are coming. We're just going to have to adopt to them. We might not like them. Some we do, some we won't. But changes are going to have to come. And that I really feel we're just going to have to understand all these issues, try to get more educate ourselves. But I just want to thank everyone that's here. I want to thank the board. We all work very well together. We work very unison. And I think the co-op members, workers, we're a big family, and I just want to say thank you for everything. Thank you very much. Alan?
Yeah, you need to do that first.
We had 2 members of the board. Ross Miller retired from the board last year. He can't attend here today because his wife Dorothy's in the hospital and that he's there. And our last one we called the godfather of the board, Rick Leifer. He's been on the board for 33 years. Very instrumental. He was chairman here of Monroe County Electric. He was chairman of Southern Illinois Power Company. And that he was on Federated Insurance Board, that insurance for all the co-ops. And he's very, very dedicated, very well respected, and that he's going to be missed by the board dramatically. He had very long experience. I said 33 years. He could probably tell you more changes than any of us on the board here. But Rick, we'd like to present you a plaque here. He would come up. And you got a 2-minute speech after you're done. It says, presented to Richard Leifer, Director, 1988 to 2021, Monroe County Electric Co-op, Inc., Waterloo, Illinois. In appreciation for 33 years of dedicated service to the Rural Electrification Program as Director of Monroe County Electric Co-op, during which he demonstrated his leadership abilities, and assisting the members of this co-op in recognition of the time and effort he contributed as a dedicated co-op director. Presented with grateful appreciation by the Board of Directors of Monroe County Electric Co-op, Waterloo, Illinois. Thank you very much, Rick. I have to say, I didn't know Rick before that. We become very good friends. We've been in a lot of places, have a lot of stories, and we'll always remember. So, Rick, we appreciate if you want to say a few minutes.
I just want to say I'm humbled to be here. Honored to serve all you people. I try to represent your values and your work ethic and everything in all my meetings throughout the country when I had to travel. And I thank you again just for the opportunity and to serve you. And I will tell you that all the people around this room in these blue shirts, they're here to serve you. They're the best of the best. You won't find any better service anywhere. And again, I just say thank you for the opportunity. And we have a bright future in front of us. You look at this board here, Mr. Stencil here taking my place. He's got the genealogy to support him. His great grandpa and grandma were instrumental in getting this co-op started, going out and getting signatures originally. So I know Quint's looking forward to being on this board. I'm sure he'll add a lot of knowledge and expertise to it. So again, thank you very much.
Well, good morning. It's been a couple years since I've seen all of you, it seems like. Just going to go through a few things that we've dealt with the last year and a half, 2 years, and none more impacting than what the COVID-19 lockdown and different things started for us. So you go back March of 2020 when everybody across the country was locking down, going remote work. You know, we started working from home what we could at that time. In March of 2020, we split the employee groups up into two teams, on and off, 1 week on, 1 week off, kind of tried to keep separation. That worked for a while. It didn't seem like anybody else was, as far as our membership, was not doing anything. We kept busy. We had new services coming in left and right, and we had a discussion with Chris Scott, and it's like we got to bring the linemen back in all at once. And so we started doing that after about a month and a half. We didn't want to get real far behind, and so we brought the crews back in. We'd closed the lobbies to members and vendors. Basically, you know, material drop-offs were just left at the back door, and we would take care of them. When we brought the crews back in full-time, we staggered the start times. We had them separated as far as crews. We couldn't afford to have, at that time, you come near it, anybody have COVID, everybody's quarantining for 14 days. We couldn't afford that. We had lights to keep on. We had to make sure the membership got served. So we went through that period. By July 1st of last year, we had everybody inside back in as well, separated, masked, went through that period of time. We did have some employees have COVID. We were able to minimize contact. We never really were shorthanded getting through their quarantine periods, so that worked out well. Finally, late last year, we did get fiber installed to the headquarters, which allowed us to take more advantage of the remote work at home with our data processing system. That worked out really well. We actually got to put it in a test run with Winter Storm Uri in February. Extreme cold, roads were bad. I had the had the ladies inside stay home for 2 days. Never missed a beat. We're able to answer phones, take care of the membership. That worked out really well. So we're confident going forward that if we were forced again to remote work, we would be able to sufficiently handle that side of it. Once vaccinations were available, we had employees take advantage of it. We're not 100% vaccinated. We're not forcing the vaccination on anyone, but we're confident that with those that have had it and those that have taken vaccinations, we should be able to weather any type of issue going forward there. I would like to say the one thing that is still impacting us or has become bigger of an impact from the COVID standpoint is material. Similar to the toilet paper run back in the beginning. Not realizing, but we had some co-ops that took a lot of material in-house. We basically have blankets with our vendors that when we need something, it's on their shelves, they bring it here. We've kind of had to change course now and look to beef up our inventory again. The real reason is we're seeing lead times on material just be extended out to 30, 40 weeks, and that's tough. Our biggest issue really right now are transformers. Overhead transformers we can get, the ones that are up on a pole, the underground transformers, those are running out 26, 32, 36 weeks. They're tough to get a hold of. So we're having to be very careful. We have to keep so many in reserve in case a transformer goes bad that it needs to be replaced. But that's the big issue really we're fighting from an impact of COVID. We did talk about we're getting ready to go into the 2022 season. We're basically in the past we haven't liked to throw all our eggs in one vendor bucket. We like to be able to have multiple vendors, but I'm not sure that's going to work out for us because we're not seeing the relationship work with a couple of them. So we may be relying heavier on just 2 vendors to give us the material we need, and we'll move forward with that. One I'm very confident in, and they're right across the river. We've dealt with them for a long time, which is Fletcher Reinhardt, and we're looking to increase our relationship with them on the inventory side. But really that's, the lead times, we keep hearing from the manufacturers through the vendors that prices are going up, that they can't get raw materials. And when they do get raw materials, the inflationary prices have just skyrocketed for them. So we're probably going to see bigger pricing increases on some of the material. But that's one thing I'm when do we get back to normal? I'm not sure when that's going to happen, and I'm not sure it will. So we've taken steps, and we know we can't operate the way we have been. We need to make sure we have the material and inventory to be able to service our membership and be able to take care of that. When new services come in, be able to kind of continue to get them in the short amount of time that we do. But then, like I said, when we have outages, when we have maintenance, that we have the material in stock to keep the system up and reliable. You approved the financials that were in the notice, the 2019 and the 2020. Really, we did have very good years operationally with margins and overall revenues were very steady. We did have lower kilowatt hour sales in 2020 than we did 2019, but if you kind of remember back, 2018 was a really big spike. We had kind of a colder winter and a hotter summer. Wasn't as severe in 19, but then 2020 was somewhat normal. But then you also had, a lot of stay at home that basically a lot of things weren't going to be done, and businesses were kind of load wise weren't as high as they had been in previous years. So we still had, though, operationally, we still had very good years. Margins increased. Equity increased. We actually ended 2020 with a 33.7% equity, which is up over from 31.9 in 2019. Right now, year to date through September, it's over 35.5%. Our goal is to get to 40. When we get to 40% equity, we start getting some interest rate incentives and breaks from our lender, and that goes automatically on the loans we have. So there again, that's a savings to the membership if we can decrease our interest rate, that interest expense long term. So that's kind of the goal. We figure we're going to get to 40% probably 2025, 2026 right now. So when that happens and we hit it, we'll see some savings long term there. Talking with Don Gully here, power cost, board voted in late 2019 to close Unit 4 down there. That was the unit that has had the most risk regulatory-wise. We would have seen substantial dollars having to be spent to make it compliant in 2020, and the board deemed it was not worth that risk, not worth that cost. Yes, there were some jobs lost. But they did negotiate very well with the union to make it as less impactful as it could be. They were able to control rates for the next couple of years, 2020 and 2021. Right now, we're going through a cost of service study to see what future impacts are. Just got through having an energy legislation passed that is, how do we say it, the best a bad bill can be for SIPC. And the main impact was toward Prairie State. There's closure language in there to 2045. That's the drop dead date that Prairie State will be shut down. Have carbon reductions coming up that will take place in 2038. And so you look at the folks that wrote this legislation today, may not be the ones in power come 2038. And we can unwind that if we have to. That's the big thing. That's what they were fighting about. The initial conversation with the governor and the environmentalists were a 2030 shutdown date for Prairie State. And if that would have stayed in and you got to 2038 and you needed that power, you can't go back and restart that power plant. I mean, it's done. Once it's shut down, it's done. So I commend Don and Nick Wrights from AIEC, the lobbyists that we hired externally through Prairie State as well. Again, got us the best deal a bad piece of legislation could be as far as Prairie State is concerned. They're overreaching in the fact that, they're looking at natural gas as well. And if they shut down coal and they take away natural gas, Southern Illinois, and really everything south of, let's say I-80, there's no power plant to speak of that would be able to serve in Illinois. You have the nuclear plants, and that was part of the legislation as well, was I don't want to call it a bailout, but it was additional money, almost $700 million for nuclear plants up in the Chicago area to keep them running. But there is really nothing outside of the Clinton plant, nuclear plant in outside of Decatur, that provides or will provide energy if you would have had coal shut down in 2030. And that's tough to think. We'd be relying on Indiana and Kentucky and Missouri to help keep the lights on here in Southern Illinois. So that, again, they did a lot of work, and again, I commend you, Don, and the group that did that, and we're working our way through those pieces. Continuing on about rates are going to be the same for 2022 coming up next year. Just like SIPC is doing a cost of service study, we are as well, taking a look at our rates. There is discussion down at SIPC for rate design to a different structure. Whether or not that gets passed, we are also have the ability then to go back in off of our cost of service, and if there are changes to their rates, we'd be able to do rates that would offer time of use or, even demand side management run down from the G&T level that would be able to, give some relief to the membership. But we will have our cost of service study done by the end of this year, as will SIPC, and we'll hopefully look, what we can do with rates in the coming year. But 2022 will be the same rates as we see this year. Going forward on part of that, and George alluded a little bit to it as well, is, the changes we see, when are they going to come in? And really I'm talking about like the electric vehicles. I'm starting to see more Teslas in Monroe County. I'm not saying everybody's flipping to an electric vehicle, but there's another battle, and I don't want to call it a battle, but that's another big issue. We shut all the coal plants down, and when they want to charge the electric vehicles at night, they say to rely on the solar. Well, the sun doesn't shine at night, so you're not charging your solar panels at night. And so that's going to put pressure on the grid. That's going to put pressure on our infrastructure. That's why we're from Monroe County's standpoint, electric standpoint, that we would like to see a rate change to be able to do the time of use and control when those cars charge. When we can have our peak, and just kind of shallow that out and limit the impact. You're talking, what do they say, 13, 15 kW additional on a trickle charger. For an EV, you have the superchargers that are very big. It takes a 480 service to handle those. We won't see any of those come in, but yeah, I mean, you start, every other house gets an electric vehicle, that makes a big difference. So we're having to take a look at that, and that's part of our strategic planning issue coming up. That what do we do with those? How do we have an EV rate for an electric vehicle? What do you think that's going to look like? Legislative wise, again, the big thing out of that is when you shut down base load plants. And a base load plant's a plant that runs 24/7. It's there. They're in the morning, they're in the evening, they're overnight. Well, you hear a lot of words to say batteries, use batteries. Well, batteries are really, right now, that technology, maybe 4 hours. Use or run time. So if you're wanting to be able to go overnight, you're going to have to do triple the amount of batteries versus what you generate to be able to run through the night. So that technology is not there yet as well. We hear some things that are coming. I know there's a project up in, I think it's Minnesota now, that they're looking at a new type of a battery. It's a different technology altogether. They're hoping to get a 10-hour run. If that happens, it's a little bit of a game changer for that technology, for batteries and being able to use. I don't know the cost yet, though. That's the big thing. What is the cost of that 10-hour battery? So anyway, that's kind of the updates for the past year, what we dealt with COVID and financials and power supply. Would like to take this time to do some employee recognitions and kind of introduce you to some folks. You might have seen some new faces, some new hires that we've had come in earlier this summer, and one just started Thursday. Melissa Harden and Rochelle Pfizer are our customer service reps up front, and then Brooke Hefner is a new accountant. Reason why we hired new folks is we've got some retirements coming up and another issue. So retiring is Shirley Reinhold. She's was an office admin coordinator. She's been here with us 15 years, so she's retiring at the end of the year. And so kind of want to introduce you to a couple of new staff people. Tracy Patton is going to become our new Director of Accounting and Finance, and Julie Rohr will be our new Director of Office and Member Services. And the reason why those two folks are moving up is because, one, Elisa Wood is going to leave us. She's going to move back home to Missouri to be with her folks. She's been my right-hand man. She's been with the MCEC for about 18 years, and she's been office manager about the last 10. And to see her grow in that position has been wonderful. And I hate to see her leave, but I totally support the move to go back home to be with her parents, and wish you the best. Really do. Thank you. And the other one, the reason why Julie's moving up, that's why Tracy's moving up. So Julie's moving up is because I have a retirement, another retirement. And if I could have Alan Masterson step up here. Where is Alan? There he is. So Alan's been director of member services since 1998 when Willard Wiggers retired. He started at Monroe County Electric December 1st, 1986, but he was a staking assistant in operations. And then he made staking engineer and member services technician in 1993. And then, like I said, in 98 became member services. So all these annual meetings since 1998, Alan's been in charge of, does a wonderful job with the membership. 35 years of employment here, but he told me he would give me a year, so it was December 31st last year. He says, I'm going to retire at the end of next year. And it's like, okay, that was kind of out of the blue, but all right, we'll get by and move on and just do the best we can for filling the position. But I want to say thanks. You've been a wonderful friend and employee, because I'd known Alan before I came here when in member services and when I was at my previous co-op. But Alan, I want to say thanks, and really I just want to give you a round of applause for all you've done. Thank you.
Well, it caught me off guard. I don't have anything planned to say, but kind of like Rick, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to serve all the members. A lot of you people, a lot of you members have been here for years, been faithful to the annual meetings. The annual meetings have changed a little bit over the years. They've evolved. And it is a lot of work, but it's not just me. It's a group effort with all the rest of the employees doing them. Of course, Alan is right there too, supporting us and directing, how we can make it a better meeting. But thank you for allowing me to work with you year after year. If it wasn't just the meetings, just business with the office. It's been the greatest gig in the world. I mean, it's been a blessing to work here, honestly. Couldn't work with a better group of people, couldn't work with a better board of directors, and couldn't work for a better president and CEO. I just want to mention the first day that I really met Alan was when he was hired. We were at the old office. I remember Alan coming in, and when you get a new boss, obviously you're a little nervous because I didn't really know him. But I remember he came into my office, greeted me, and sat down. And just like Alan's personality, nobody everybody's a friend. Nobody's a stranger, and he was relaxed and friendly and cordial and. Very happy to be here, and I appreciated that. And since then, over, what is it now, 19 years? Yeah. He's been very supportive and has made a very good co-op better, and he's taken us to higher levels on serving the member, keeping up with technology, putting our name out there, and just making us a better presence. We had a great manager, Joe Fellon. I started with Joe. but Alan has just taken it up another level. So I very much appreciate that and appreciate all you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. I didn't bring you up here to say all that about me, but I wanted to thank you for that, but I appreciate everything. And do have a few guests I want to introduce that are here with us today. Got Don Gully, the president and CEO of Southern Illinois Power Cooperative. Two reasons why Don's up here. He's got grandkids on the other side of the river, so he's blessing us with his presence today. But we know where his heart's really lying when he wants to get back to the grandkids, and I appreciate that. From the Association of Illinois Electric Cooperatives, we really can't do a lot of this without them. And I failed to mention right off the bat that we are actually Facebook streaming this live today. One of our first times doing that. Not sure we have anybody on watching, but we got 6 on watching, Paul says. That's awesome. So, but yeah, I mean, again, that's part of technology. And when we get to the bylaws here a little bit, you'll see why we're trying to take advantage of some changes there. But Nancy McDonald, Vice President of Member Services, taking the pictures for us today. Thank you. And she's a short timer as well. She's getting ready to retire at the end of the year. I got Paul Dow, Coordinator of Video Productions, running the camera, and Jim Pauley, the Member Support Representative, back there in the back helping out. But thank you guys for being here. Some of the farm cooperatives, I got Donnie Schroeder with Gateway FS, and a good member. Thank you very much. And then Kermit Constantine from Republic Times taking pictures as well. Some retirees and spouses. I got Mert Metter, wife of longtime director Clarence Metter. She's over there, back in there. Janet Amon was here, wife of Wally Amon, who was a director. And I got Manly and Joanne Canalblock, retired director and spouse as well. Thank you guys for coming. So anyway, lastly, I just want to say I appreciate your support to MCEC. By coming today, really it's a bigger crowd than I anticipated. We weren't sure, we kind of really pared it down. We just wanted to get the business meeting done this year and get directors elected and just get the normal course of business done for it. But our goal is to come back in June next year. Hopefully no restrictions. And really, I wished we'd have had this done about 2 months ago before they started bringing some restrictions back. But we'll go back to June of next year. We'll have our pancakes next year, so come back for those, and then all the other things we have for the membership as well when we have a full-blown member appreciation annual meeting, and hopefully make it feel like a return to normal. But as now, that's all my notes and comments, and I will turn the podium over to our attorney Bill Schmidt to run the election and bylaw votes. Bill.
Okay, I'm going to try not to be tearful. And I don't want to lengthen this, but I do want to do this. I have the opportunity to observe these directors on a regular basis, and I can tell you that they take very seriously their fiduciary duty to all of the members. And beyond that, the co-op's employees, starting with the CEO and the other management and other staff inside, all the people out on the line and in the shops, also work very hard to provide the members with quality service at a reasonable cost. And so maybe we should express our thanks to all of these folks with a round of applause. The election of directors starts with the Credentials and Election Committee. And this year, the Credentials and Election Committee met pursuant to the bylaws. And I want to thank the members of that committee for their participation. This year, the committee had double duty because they were reviewing the qualifications and credentials of candidates for 2023 expiring in 2023 and in 2024. So there were 6 candidates. The committee reviewed their petitions to make sure they were appropriately signed by the members and the other credentials and qualifications that the candidates submitted. And after all of that was done, the committee determined that all 6 of the candidates were qualified to stand for election this year. Their names have already been provided to you. All of the candidates are unopposed, so that under the bylaws, we can dispense with formal voting and instead entertain a motion by one of you all to direct the secretary to cast a unanimous ballot for each of the candidates from all 3 districts. And so is there such a motion to be made? Manley? And is there a second? Second? All in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed? And the motion carries. You want me to move on to the bylaws? Get it done? They have me on the program that I'm looking at, they have me down for old business, but I'm old, but I have no such business to provide you. And so we're going to move instead to seeking a vote on changes that have been made to the bylaws. These proposed changes appear in your Echoes magazine, and I'm not going to go through them in a lot of detail, but I want to point out the highlights to you. The bylaws as they currently exist make reference to annual meetings, special meetings, member meetings, and voting meetings. And so we're proposing to get rid of these references to voting meetings and member meetings because we really just don't have them. One of the most significant changes provides that the Board of Directors can provide for in-person attendance as well as virtual attendance or both to address the situation where we had last year where it was difficult, if not impossible, to have in-person meetings. So now they can be, at the option of the directors, be virtual. That provides only, it deals only with the annual meeting, but not the special meeting, which would have to be in person. The other addition, the other change is that the proposed bylaws eliminates proxy voting. And the reason why is because of the proposed changes in section 403, where members can vote either by mail or by access to electronic ballots, as determined by the directors. The other changes are really just to provide for different time periods for completing certain tasks, and so that's about it. And so with that, we will entertain a motion to approve the proposed amendments to Monroe County Electric Cooperative's bylaws. Do we have such a motion? We do. Do we have a second? And we do. Any further discussion? So all in favor of these proposed amendments signify by saying aye. All opposed? And that motion also carries. Thank you.
Before we adjourn, is there any questions or concerns or anything that from our members out here? Yes, ma'am.
Even more so now with the pandemic and COVID, it's become a necessity. And for those of us in the rural areas, it's very expensive and not nearly the quality of what is available to people who live within the city limits. So I know that other counties have it. I don't know all the details, but where is this county? Where is Monroe County Electric going with that?
I'll answer the question.
Okay, so just go back on a little bit of history of this so we did a survey 2 years ago. We surveyed membership about broadband and what would they be willing to pay? Would they want fiber to the home? And unfortunately, some of the numbers that came back were underwhelming. We didn't see the support to do that. Since that time, so to answer your first question, we're not pursuing any funding for broadband. What we are trying to pursue is a closer partnership with HTC to get in some of the areas that we overlap, to help them and help us have broadband, or we like the fiber background or backbone to our substations, but that's kind of where we're at with broadband. I'm not going to go into substantial debt, which is what it is, because we're not going to qualify for grants in this county. Medium income level is too high. We never qualify for grants on any type of government project. So the business plan wouldn't support us diving deep into broadband that heavy and trying to compete with HTC. And then in our northern territory, you have the cable companies coming out of St. Louis, Spectrum, and what used to be Charter. It's just not a business plan I don't think we want to go down. And I know what you're saying. I struggle with it too, but it just doesn't make financial sense for us to do that right now. Yeah, you're welcome. I just don't have a better answer for you. Apologize, yeah. Anybody else? That'll be the big one coming. It'll continue to come. Broadband will be. The RDOF auction that they had last year was a fiasco from the standpoint of how it was bid out, because there's no a lot of the big telecom companies bid the number down in each county, and basically you can't make it work on that. But on the backside of it, there's no holding their feet to the fire to get it done. So when the 5 years are up, all they got to do is give the money back. And they've went and made the business work in the places they have density. So if you could get the government out of it, it might work, but I'm not sure you can get the government out of it. So anyway, anything else? Do you want me to just ask for a motion? So seeing nothing else, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Have a motion, have a second in the back. Nothing else. Your standing will be the vote to adjourn this meeting, and I thank you very much for coming. Thank you.